I'm going to talk about, how do we get these valuable cannabinoids that Dr. Titus talked about into the hands of people that need them. And, maybe I can start with a little bit of personal thought why I got involved into this field, because, as Andre clearly stated, I started off with a PhD in biochemistry, actually in photobiochemistry, which is the biochemistry involved with light, right? And where does light play an important role? In our eye, right? We in Holland, where I grew up and did my PhD, we wanted to understand how vitamin A, which everybody knows is the most important vitamin in our human eye, functions, and how it manages to convert the light that we see from the sunset, which is past now, but the sunset, and how we can convert that into biochemical signals, right? That was my PhD research, and then I branched off into more nutritional related subjects like prostate cancer and the relationship between, for example, lycopene, which is a very important carotenoid, and prevention or delay of certain prostate problems, and also menopausal complaints and antioxidants and many different things that we are using today in the healthcare arena, and also in the more common shops like GNC, for example. We all know this, right? So I spent a lot of time in this field, and also did a lot of clinical studies. And to me, it's always a frustrating fact that there are so few clinical studies really that are respected by the healthcare community as being adequately proving the effect of nutritional components, and that's sad. I know why it's there, because it's so difficult to study a nutritional component. I mean, we all know what a pharmaceutical does to prove that its function, right? A placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. That's the standard of science today. And that's easy to do for a pharmaceutical company. It's easy. It's expensive, but it's easy. Because, you have a big group, you give half the people the placebo, half of the people the active component, and you just observe the differences. Well, start doing that with nutritional components. It's very, very complicated. I mean, imagine the simple case: if vitamin C is effective for something, how do you give a half of the group not vitamin C? It's very difficult, because they still live their life and they still eat an orange every day, right? So it's very difficult to perform these studies in a very randomized, placebo-controlled clinical study. So there are not that many available. Nevertheless, I did many of them in my career, and only fairly recently I got involved with Kannaway, one of the, as I said, companies founded by Dr. Titus, focusing on the cannabis plant, because one thing struck me, apart from the discussions with Dr. Titus, is that we have this endocannabinoid system that is in our body, whether we take cannabinoids or not. And to me, that was the most eye-opening factor, because how can we have been deciding on our own health by the Alcohol Prohibition Act, and by the fact that we decided for ourselves that we could not have access to the cannabis ingredients or the hemp ingredients, yet our body was waiting for it. Our body had a system waiting for those cannabinoids to do at least something, otherwise it wouldn't have been built into our body. Our DNA has determined that we need that cannabinoid family of components simply because our system is ready to receive it. That was an eye-opening thing. I knew about the receptors of all the vitamins and the minerals and the fatty acids and all the different things, but I did not know about the cannabinoid family of components and how our body was already prepared for it. So that was the key switch in my mind that I said, okay, this is what I want to be involved in, because it is a new field of interesting research for me, and it's a very new field of, helping the community, the people around us, getting the ingredients that our body craves. Craving is the right word here, because craving means there is a system, we just need to get the components into our system to do the good things. So, and then of course I started reading the research, and I saw all these research prospects on all these different health benefits of cannabinoids. We've seen a couple of things passing the scene here. There are many, many more available that you can all read about. And, you know, this made me believe that we have been overlooking the benefits of cannabinoids in our recent, let's call it medical history. Let's call it our health history. And, you know, if cannabinoids do one thing, it is providing homeostasis. Homeostasis is a Latin word, and it means keeping life in balance. And it's kind of balance sounds like a modern word for not really knowing what you're doing, but you just give something and everything's in balance, you know. But I believe firmly from my research projects in the last 20, 30 years that our body is very smart. And our body knows exactly what it needs to do to stay healthy. Our body is not designed to become sick. Our body has all kinds of mechanism in itself to regulate the homeostasis, the staying healthy situation, simply said, right? Provided we help our body do what it does best, meaning do what it does best, giving it the help in terms of nutritional components and also cannabinoids because of the endocannabinoid system to provide that balance of our body. And if we do that balance act with our lifestyle and with our nutritional intake, we give our body the best chance to deal with a lot of dysfunctionalities in our body. So the company Kannaway, one of the family of companies, has this vision of using the hemp plant in all its goodness. You know, it's not just cannabinoids, there's many different uses. Dr. Titus showed how it has been used already thousands of years for health benefits, yes, but also for many other usages in our world, like building material, like clothing, like all kinds of textiles that have been created from the hemp plant. So that is our vision at Kannaway, that we want to utilize that hemp and all its goodness for the benefit of humanity. And a very bold statement that we want to create is that we would like to see hemp in every home, be it for your health benefits or be it for any other situation. Now, starting a company in this field was not easy. Of course not, because we forbid ourselves to even grow hemp, right? We decided that as a humanity. And Dr. Titus, you see him on the picture here, he's standing in a hemp field, and he was a real pioneer of this industry, a pioneer of fighting the battles to make small steps to where we are today. And those were really small steps, as you can imagine. I mean, Andre talked about not being able to simply take a case of CBD from one state to the next, right? That seems like a very small hurdle today, but it was a big hurdle in the time when these companies were founded. And, you see them standing here in a hemp field. That was another eye-opener to me. I didn't realize hemp was such a tall plant when I started with this company, right? I mean, everybody thinks about cannabis and like a small plant like that, but in fact, the plant that we're talking about is much taller than the people in this picture. So Dr. Titus was a pioneer in this industry and, had to convince one at a time people to look at this in an objective way, not with a preconceived mind, and basically say, okay, what do we need to do to reintroduce, not introduce, reintroduce, because it was so long already well known, into the health of humanity. And that's why we can clearly say that he has pioneered an industry. We could, by doing so, we could, set the standards when it comes to production, when it comes to quality control, when it comes to providing standards of how products should look. And today, I'm pretty convinced, if I look around here in Fort Lauderdale, you're going to be having 5 places around here where you can buy CBD, right? And that is, that's a good thing, because it means it's generally accepted. But it's also a bad thing, because it has widespread into a lot of uncontrolled selling by non-professionals who have, let's put it frankly, no clue what they're doing. And we all know I have a little bit of bad habit. I develop many nutritional products. I go into GNC stores now and then, and I'm a bit of a nasty man, so I tend to ask questions about products that I personally developed that are in there with the people behind the counter. And I kind of challenge them a bit, what's in there. And yeah, it's nasty, I know, but still, it's kind of funny to find out how much non-information or non-knowledge is there when it comes to CBD. We started in 2009, and right now we are where we are today in 47 markets around the world. And can you imagine? I mean, now 47 is a very small number of markets still, right? Because in Europe it's most widely accepted. US it is. Canada still has a bit of an issue with it. But in whole Asia, it's still a big of a no-go, in Africa as well. We have a market in South Africa where we are successfully have just launched our new whole line of CBD products. Japan, as Andre mentioned, is our biggest market. And more markets will come and come because we cannot stop the history of the CBD and hemp into the health benefits that it delivers. You know, a scientist like Dr. Titus, I don't think he ever plowed a field, but that's what it started, right? I mean, plowing a field, getting to, invest in simple things like farms. This is a picture from Holland, where I'm from, and yes, we did have a little bit of cannabis history, but not necessarily in mass production of hemp. And, technology was needed to be invented to harvest even the plant. It did not exist, right? And that is, a big investment as well. So we can clearly proudly call ourselves the inventors of the modern CBD and hemp industry. Now, we have developed our knowledge and developed our technology and developed our viewpoint on different products that we are delivering to different markets around the world. We always have to be sensitive because, there are many regulatory differences even between states in the United States, but let alone on a market scale from different countries to another, right? We currently have basically 3 levels of products. Every product of us is Kannaway is hemp-based, CBD-based, cannabinoid-based, but there are 3 different levels, and it's quite easy to understand. We have what we call the green line, and you can all look at them after this at the table over there. The green line is basically the hemp plant. You squeeze it out, you get a paste, and everything which is in the plant is going to be in that product. We call them applicators. Applicators is little syringes that look like a big syringe, and you squeeze out a daily amount, a few milliliters, and you put it under your tongue. That's the best way to get absorption of the cannabinoids, right? And it's a pure line which contains everything which is in the hemp plant. So not just the cannabinoids, but also, vitamins and minerals and terpenes and fatty acids and components that are in there. We don't know yet what all these things do. I mean, that is the fun part of being in an evolving research environment. We don't necessarily know yet what they do, but from many more information is coming day by day, week by week, month by month, to learning more about it. But that is our most purest hemp line. We have a premium hemp oil. We have the applicators, which is just hemp paste, basically. It's a very, let's be frank, bad tasting product, right? I mean, Andre will maybe share a story with you how he walked around in a hemp field and smelled the hemp and how it influenced his mood at that moment, right? I can fairly say that. But, squeezing out a hemp plant does not provide the nicest taste. Unfortunately, a lot of people believe that not nice tasting things are good for you, right? And that's probably the truth. Well, if you go one step further, we are having our gold line, and that is one purification step from the hemp plant. We call this our broad spectrum products. So broad spectrum products are a mix of all the cannabinoids from the hemp plant, but we removed some of the other components from the hemp plant, such as the vitamins, minerals, and the more bitter tasting components. We focused on the cannabinoids, yet all of them in the hemp plant mixed with a certain oil, MCT oil, which is a natural oil that is used to facilitate the absorption, again, under the tongue. It's a little dropper, so you take like a drop thing, you put it under your tongue, you let it rest there for a few seconds, 10, 20 seconds, and then you have maximum absorption. Broad spectrum, this is full spectrum, everything is in it, in the plant. This is broad spectrum, so some components have been removed, but all the cannabinoids are still there. And then we go one step further, and that is what we call the purified line, pure line of products, where we zoom in on a specific cannabinoid, right? I mean, Titus have talked about, certain benefits of CBN, for example, which is a different cannabinoid than CBD or CBG, right? So if science emerges and evolves, and we know specific benefits of a specific cannabinoid from the plant, we can actually zoom into that cannabinoid, purify it, concentrate it, and make sure you get the maximum efficacy of that specific cannabinoid. So those are the three major lines of things. All of the plant, a broad spectrum, all the cannabinoids, purified into one single individual cannabinoid. We focus on many different things, the whole CBD line of products, the purified cannabinoids. We have nutritional products where cannabinoids are added to it. We have a topical product, which has a great anti-inflammatory benefit for the skin and pain treatment and joint issues that we might face today. And we even have a beauty line because, again, the anti-inflammatory effects of cannabinoids are very beneficial into beauty and skin treatment as well. We're very proud that since we're the first company that started doing this, we have set the standards, right? And a very important part is our triple lab testing methodology. We want to make sure that when you buy a product or when you prescribe or recommend a product, your patient, your customer, individuals are going to get what they believe they're going to get. And there's a lot of, forgive the word, crap out there. Yeah? So there's a lot of synthetic stuff out there, and there's a lot of things out there that don't even contain CBD. We're very proud to provide triple lab testing. What does that mean? That means when we get from the farm our first initial raw material of the hemp plant, we test it for all the cannabinoids. We look what's in there. We look what's in there and also what's not in there, which is also very important. Huh? And then, we do it again once that material arrives at the manufacturing facility, the purification facility, to confirm again that what we have gotten from the plant is still in the batch. And then we do it again when it is entering the bottle that you will see on the table over there. So there are three phases where we confirm the purity of the CBD ingredients. And that is really, ladies and gentlemen, very, very important. We're US Hemp Authority certified. That means US Hemp Authority is an independent body that checks and certifies components in the CBD family. They want to make sure that what we say is in there, and they are not easy to fool. They're a organization that really sets high standards. And if they allow you to put the stamp on your product, they're going to be absolutely sure that what you say is in there and what the history of that product is actually reflected into what we have. We're also included in the US Prescriber's Desk Reference. Now, PDR, when I started my career, it was still the Physician's Desk Reference. Now it's the Prescriber's Digital Reference. Conveniently the same abbreviation, so that's good. I think that wasn't done on purpose, probably. But we all know that as medical professionals. This is the Bible, it's called the Bible, of medical and prescription information. And Pure Gold, it's our best-selling product. Pure Gold is our broad-spectrum CBD product, is in there. It's been listed there as a genuine treatment option for many individual health concerns that you will find in the PDR. And I think that is, again, a very important efficacy, quality statement that we are able to do that. And no other company can do that simply because they do not have the technology, the innovation, the knowledge, the purity, the quality that the product requires to have before it's listed in the PDR. So these things are very important for our company and gives you this peace of mind that when you recommend a product like Pure Gold to your patients or your customers, you are very confident that what you give them is the pure goodness of the hemp plant. What's very important to us is that we don't want to have things in it that we don't want to have. We all know that a lot of crops these days are being mistreated with all kinds of interesting chemicals, fungicides, pesticides, herbicides, all kinds of sides, right? And these things are, unfortunately, well, maybe not necessary, but used a lot, particularly in America, I would say, to produce our crops. And if we are shopping today at Publix, here a popular supermarket here in the Florida area, I'm just using Publix as an example of a supermarket, we see a lot of what I call mistreated fruits and vegetables. So if we are mistreating our fruit with all kinds of chemicals like the pesticides and things that we talked about, then we are depleting the fruit and vegetables with healthy components that they otherwise could have given to us. So we believe in organic growing of the hemp, right? We don't necessarily own the farms. Some of them we do, but some of them we have contractual agreements with in Europe, in the US, in Mexico, and other parts of the world where we produce our own hemp. And we have 100% organic certification because we believe that we do not want to have ingredients in it that do not simply belong to this hemp plant. And we don't make a secret out of that. If you are concerned about what's in our products, you go on our website, you click on the certificate of analysis, you're going to see everything that is in that product. It's independently tested. You can see when and where it has been tested. You can see the person who did it, and you can clearly read about all the cannabinoids that are in there and the stuff that is not in there. And that is a very important aspect for a lot of patients, a lot of customers, but also an important peace of mind story on your behalf when you recommend something. Homeostasis, Dr. Titus talked about very different benefits of the cannabinoids and very different research that has happened. Homeostasis is keeping our body healthy through keeping it in balance. And, we are about prevention. Now, prevention is a non-sexy word in healthcare treatment sometimes because, it used to be like we're treating symptoms. Well, now it's shifting towards the idea of prevention. We want to work with our patients to make sure they are, staying and dealing with their own health. I talk about it as a non-healthcare professional, as a simple biochemist, in this way. We see age, we see life quality, we see a life curve which starts low, reaches a maximum, and then during our life starts to decline step by step until we get into the medical serious concerns and we decline very quickly and die. That is a typical lifespan of a patient of yours, right? These are the years that patients spend in good health. And typical our way of dealing with patients is they come to us when we have a disease. So in this phase, right? In this phase of our life. They don't come to us when we're here, when we're healthy. They come to us when we are declining in health. And we prescribe them drugs. That's typically what we do, right? That is the standard of care today in our pharmaceutical thinking world. And since drugs have good clinical studies, they provide an effect on our overall life curve. We get some extra years in good health. Now, the whole idea with prevention is, of course, that we don't wait till this moment happens, but we start here thinking about prevention. We start thinking about prevention when patients come to us and say, hey, my family has a history of this. What can I do to also get into that situation? That is preventative thinking. And fortunately, a lot more people, a lot more healthcare professionals are looking into that way of dealing with their patients as well. And we believe by providing not just cannabinoids, but minerals, vitamins, nutritional components, we can again help our body do what it does best, keeping the homeostasis. So we want to see people early in life intervening into their health through the means of prevention. And I believe that on an average scale, this will lead to increased life quality and increased life quantity. And as a result, many more years to their life. Now, this is an illustration of how I think about that, but I think you get the gist of it, right? Simply waiting till we have a disease and doing a little bit to get a little effect is, on our life view, maybe not the best way to go. We could probably much better help our patients by starting early in their life, intervening in what we believe can help them and have a much bigger effect on overall health benefits in their lives. That is what I call homeostasis. Making sure that we help our body do what it does best. Making sure that our body can stay in balance and can deal with so many different disbalances that lead to concerns. Pharmaceuticals play a very important role in our health, but when it comes to balancing our life, providing our homeostasis, we typically bombard one effect of the balance with a pharmaceutical, which is a very strong antagonist or agonist of a certain receptor, and it does a very strong thing, but as a result throws the whole thing off balance and causes what we know as side effects, right? That is what we're thinking. And today the biggest drug market is the drug market to dealing with side effects. Can you believe it? It's actually quite sad that we have to say that, but it's true. We believe in the nutritional component that all these things that we are eating, hopefully on a daily basis, lycopene from tomatoes, beta-carotene from carrots, antioxidants from onions, anthocyanidins from berries, vitamin C, you name it. We all know these things. They are playing each their individual part in the story of keeping us healthy. And Dr. Titus called this the entourage effect. It plays on a bigger scale and it plays on a smaller scale. It plays on a bigger scale when we look at all these nutritional components. Each of them are not so strong like a painkiller. There's less effect. But together, they augment the effect enormously. And that is the entourage effect. On a big scale, but also on the small scale, relatively, of the hemp plant. The hemp plant has so many different cannabinoids in the plant. This is just a small part of an HPLC, high performance liquid chromatogram, of separating the cannabinoids from the plant. We recognize a few. We recognize CBD here. We recognize THC. We recognize delta-8 THC, what Dr. Titus talked about. We recognize CBN. Those are components of the hemp plant that we have been able to identify, purify, and link to a certain health benefit. That is the research where we're in, and we're by no way finished. Every year, years to come, we will be able to link certain health benefits to these individual components. So there's a lot of things to come out there. The entourage effect is an effect that means if you take our Pure Gold PDR prescribed product, we are managing our homeostasis from many different angles with a combined effect. And there's so much to discover when it comes to new benefits. We have our product CBN, which a lot of people take that because it improves their sleep enormously. And we know by research how that comes, which receptors are being stimulated to induce the sleep beneficial effects. People take that product, people benefit from it, and it's one of the new things that have come out of research. CBG is another one that has mood enhancing effectiveness, right? So we are not just a CBD company. We are a CBD company that, yes, provides the PDR listed broad spectrum, benefit in all kinds of areas, homeostasis, entourage effect, but we also zoom into individual components and make sure we have specific treatment options available. And let's not forget our topical ingredients. I mean, anti-inflammatory effects of the cannabinoids are very well being described, so it makes completely sense to use that anti-inflammatory effect of there where it can potentially have the biggest benefits, which is on our skin. There is a good absorption of the cannabinoids of the salve, which is a cream, into our skin, into the epidermis, and it means that anti-inflammatory effects have an immediate pain reduction effect. A lot of people report this pain reduction effect when they start using this topical product. So hemp in every home is not just a loose statement. Yes, we are mainly focused on health benefits of the hemp plant today, but our company has a vision to use the plant, to bring it back to the forefront of the botanical science and make sure that we continue to recognize the benefits that it can bring in many, many different aspects. I believe hemp in every home is just at the beginning, and we are going to see a lot more in this field. Now, Thank you very much. I want to thank Dr. Titus again for your wealth of information, and you are my main inspiration why I joined this company and why I'm really enthusiastic about what is to come in the field of benefits of the hemp plant. Thank you.